This is WNBC-TV, New York. This is News 4 in New York with Chuck Scarborough and John Hambridge.
At Giants Stadium this morning, the soccer field was aglow as the Cosmos were joined at practice by Franz Beckenbauer. Yes, the West German superstar who played 3 years with the Cosmos, getting ready for Saturday's World All-Star game. On his return to New York, he reflected upon his decision to leave Europe and play here.
One of the reasons why I joined the United States was Pelé. It was for me a great honor to play with him 1 year, 1977, in one team, and I never forget this.
Beckenbauer is now 37 years old, and after playing 18 years, he retired from the game in June. What are the fans going to see here when they look at you on Saturday?
You know, I'm completely out of shape, so I hope not the people expect my old performance, because I cannot do this. Maybe I play, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes, then that's it.
How many teams do you think would take 20 or 30 minutes of an out-of-shape Franz Beckenbauer?
This is WNBC-TV, New York. This is News 4 in New York with Chuck Scarborough and John Hambridge.
Speaking of artistry, tomorrow night at Giants Stadium, most of the great international stars of soccer will play in the World All-Star Soccer game, a game that is already SRO. They've sold more than 76,000 tickets for tomorrow. Now, the only American picked to play in the game, Ricky Davis of the Cosmos. Ricky in a lineup that features a who's who in international soccer. And Al caught up with Rick at practice the other day.
It means a lot of things because of basically what I represent. Being an American, I grew up in the United States. I learned my soccer in the United States. And I think it's an opportunity for someone to show what and how serious the United States and America is as far as playing the game. So I feel very honored that I was the individual selected. I think there are quite a few players that could have been.
All right, the World All-Star Soccer game tomorrow night at Giants Stadium. Proceeds go to UNICEF. As I said, they will get 76,000.
New Jersey Nightly News with Kent Manahan and Bill Perry with sports.
You can't. Because of the success of the FIFA World All-Star Game, the United States has demonstrated that it can and does support soccer. FIFA is the Federation International Football Association. That's the worldwide governing body. What we call soccer is called football worldwide. At a sold-out Giant Stadium tomorrow night, players like Paolo Rossi from Italy will play for Europe, Zoff, Antonelli, and Tardelli. Teammates of Rossi's for the World Cup champions will also be there. For the rest of the world, Brazil's Junior will be joined by teammates Zico, Socrates, Oscar, and Falco. Sounds like a law firm, but all are World Cup stars. The 1986 World Cup is scheduled for Colombia. This man is Harry Cavan, FIFA's senior VP. His organization acknowledges that there is a chance the World Cup will not wind up in Colombia.
I can tell you that I led a delegation there 10 years ago, but then, of course, conditions have changed because we now have a format of 24 teams instead of 16, and this, of course, represents a massive increase in the requirement for stadia, for training grounds, for internal transportation, hotels, and so on.
In September, a FIFA delegation will make a tour of inspection of Colombia and make a report. There are those who say Colombia can't cope with 24 teams.
If it's an adverse report, then obviously the FIFA will have to look for an alternative venue.
And the United States Soccer Federation, know this, has an active campaign underway to bring the World Cup here in '86.
Would it shock you if the World Cup wound up in the United States in 1986?
No, it certainly would not shock me because I recognize, and I think most of my colleagues would recognize, that in the United States you have all the requirements. And there's no reason at all why you shouldn't successfully organize a world championship. When one thinks of all the ethnic groups you have here, you could almost fill each of the stadia with different ethnic groups for different matches.
This is Eyewitness News with Bill Butel and Kaidi Tong, Doris McMillan, Mike Berry, and the Eyewitness News team.
76,000 plus on hand, Giant Stadium tonight, as Tracy mentioned, to watch the best in soccer, the World All-Star match at the Meadowlands. And the star who stood out in this galaxy of stars, Giancarlo Antonini, a member of the World Cup champion Italy team, broke a 2-2 tie here in the 88th minute to boost Europe to a 3-2 win over the rest of the world. Europe beats the rest of the world, and you heard it here first.
The up-to-the-minute Channel 2 News at 11 with Rollins Smith, Michelle Marsh, Ben Berman for Warner Wolf, and Mr. G with the weather.
A night filled with electricity at Giant Stadium, a soccer fan's dream, the 1982 World All-Star Game featuring the European All-Stars versus stars from the rest of the world for the benefit of UNICEF. And many of the greats from the recent World Cup tournament on hand, including Zico of Brazil, the South American Player of the Year, who put the World All-Stars ahead 1-0. In the second half, Paolo Rossi, the hero of Italy's World Cup triumph, came through at the Meadowlands, cutting the world's lead to 2-1. Then the Europeans came back to tie it, Pezzi of Austria making the score 2-up. And with 1:55 to go, Carlo Antonioni provided the clincher, allowing the Europeans to win it 3-2, close to 77,000 at the game. Really a brilliant exhibition when you consider the circumstances. Players coming together from all over the globe, performing as if they've been teammates for years.
This is News 4 New York with Ralph Penza and Anna Bond.
At Giant Stadium, it was a magic night for soccer. Sellout crowd of nearly 77,000 watched the greatest players in the world, Europe versus the rest of the world. And with Europe trailing 2-0, it was Paolo Rossi, the World Cup hero from Italy, setting up Kevin Keegan of England to help turn it around. Score tie 2-2. Italy's Giancarlo Antonioni, a minute and a half to go. Goalie Thomas Nkono of Cameroon, unable to hold on, 3-2 Europe.
This is News 4 New York with Ralph Penza and Anna Bond.
Last night, 77,000 at the Meadowlands. Pelé served as the honorary captain in a soccer spectacular. Europe against the rest of the world. Europe trailed 2-0 when World Cup hero Paolo Rossi of Italy set up England's Kevin Keegan as the game took a turn. And with the score tied at 2, a minute and a half to go, Italy's Giancarlo Antonioni, the blast goalie Thomas Nkono of Cameroon, cannot handle it. Europe comes back, led by the Italians, 3-2, the victory.
This is Miller Sports Extra with Bill Mazer and John Dockery, brought to you by Light Beer from Miller. Everything you've always wanted in a beer, and less.
Again, it was the Italians against the Brazilians in this FIFA UNICEF All-Star Game. The first half dominated by the Brazilians. Zico and Socrates saw the rest of the world take a 2-0 lead. But in the second half, the Europeans, with Giancarlo Antonioni and Paolo Rossi playing extremely well, came on and won this game 3-2. Let's have a look at how it happened. Leading 1-0, the rest of the world in green put tremendous pressure on Dino Zoff. Socrates' kick, and in it goes off the foot of Bellumi. 2-0 in favor of the rest of the world. But in the second half, look at the pass by Paolo Rossi to Keegan. That made it a 2-1 game in favor of the rest of the world. And then a superb kick made by number 12, the Austrian Pezzi, off the work of Antonioni. Now here's Antonioni's great kick, and that makes the final score 3-2 in favor of the European team. After the game, with the help of my friend Ernesto Cavalli, I talked with both Rossi and Antonioni, and later with Giorgio Chinaglia. Ask him if he enjoyed scoring the winning goal.
Come ti è piaciuta l'idea di aver fatto l'ultimo gol, attualmente il gol vincente?
Ma
Ho provato a tirare da una posizione molto angolata.
He shot from an angle, very difficult angle.
Mi è andata bene, era un tiro
Well, he was lucky.
molto forte.
It was a strong shot.
Has he been in America before?
Sei venuto in America, sei mai stato in America tu prima?
Sì, 76,
1976.
bicentenario.
O bicentennial.
Would he like to play in the United States?
Ti piacerebbe l'idea di giocare per gli Stati Uniti?
Ma in prospettiva futura mi piacerebbe.
Eventually in the future he wouldn't mind it at all.
Ernie, ask him whether he'd like to play for the Cosmos.
Il signore le domanda se le piacerebbe giocare per i Cosmos.
È già la seconda volta.
Second time that you're asking that.
Adesso no. Adesso adesso ho intenzione di rimanere ancora in Italia per qualche anno,
for a few more years.
Di togliermi qualche grossa soddisfazione con la Juventus,
And few more satisfaction with Juventus.
di raggiungere qualche obiettivo e qualche traguardo importante come la Coppa dei Campioni e il campionato italiano.
The goal of the obviously it's an European Cup.
In futuro potrebbe essere una cosa che non mi potrebbe anche non dispiacere.
In the future he might even consider it, he might even like it.
Molto interessante come esperienza.
It would be very interesting as an experience.
Georgie is the #1 ambassador of soccer in America. What did you think of the tournament tonight?
I think it was fantastic. I think this is great for soccer. It's great for UNICEF, most of all. And the fans enjoyed it. They loved it. There are no winners or losers in this game, although the rest of Europe won 3-2.
Gee, you really do sound like an ambassador. You know that?
I think that the most important thing is that everybody went home happy and enjoyed the game.
Will they get a World Cup in the United States?
Well, I would hope so. I hope so. And but it's not going to be easy.
Why?
Oh, there's a lot of red tape, a lot of situations, you know, and still people kind of don't believe that soccer can make it here and this kind of stuff. So, but I think by looking at the game tonight, when 76,000 people showed up and all these high officials from FIFA that were here, it could help the cause.
All-Star soccer game was just that this past Saturday night. It was an all-star game. The rest of the world was great in the first half, and you see a score here by Baloumi, the Algerian, off a kick by Socrates. But in the second half, watch Rossi's pass to Keegan, and he scores to make it 2-1. Now, shortly thereafter, a great pass by Antonioni to Pezzi. That makes it 2-2. Now Rossi to Antonioni. 3-2 the final in favor of the European team. Antonioni, just a super player. Just a super player. He was the best player on the field that night. And the final, again, was 3-2, if you missed it, in favor of the European team over the rest of the world.
It was quite a sight at Giant Stadium in New Jersey. Last Saturday night, tens of thousands of sports fans crowded together, all looking for kicks, and they got them. Actually, they were there to see the greatest concentration of soccer talent ever assembled on a single field anywhere in the world. Surprising thing to me is that it happened in the United States and not where soccer is king, in Europe.
Almost 78,000. We missed you there, by the way. As you know, soccer in the United States is a growing sport, especially among the youngsters. It still lags far behind football, baseball, basketball, and hockey, however, as a spectator sport. But that was not the case on Saturday night when a sellout crowd of almost 78,000 turned out for UNICEF, the World All-Star Soccer Game. Another 1 billion watched around the world on television in over 60 countries. It seemed that everyone came with a flag to fly to see the best soccer players in the world, from West Germany's Beckenbauer to the great Pelé from Brazil. An unusual sight anywhere, but especially here in the United States.
I would think that it's good for football, for soccer, I'll use the word in the United States, because it will let your public see as they've just seen in the World Cup, just what this game is like and why it is the game of the world.
I think soccer in the United States has a lot to grow, has to have a lot of patience, because unfortunately it takes time. Football, baseball, hockey, any kind of sport is a major sport in the United States has taken a long time to reach the top level. So therefore, you know, we have to have patience as well. We have to grow with, like anything and like anybody else, like little children have to grow up.
Here in the United States you have too many professional sports. I don't know, 10, 20 major sports. There's no one in the world has this. For example, you know, I'm from Germany. Germany has only soccer, just a little hockey, a little basketball, but that's not maybe 1 or 2%, but the main sport is soccer, and everybody plays soccer.
Games such as this one bring the possibility of a World Cup in soccer here in the United States a little bit closer, possibly as early as 1986.
I think there will be enough novelty about it and enough publicity and attraction, and of course worldwide television as well, to attract the players or attract the spectators, even if it's only for that one World Cup. So I personally wouldn't have any hesitation in saying the United States ought to be, and I'm quite sure could, organize a very good World Cup.
In my analogy, I think for the soccer, not only in the United States and world, would be wonderful if they make the World Cup here in the United States.
I think that we certainly have the facilities to accommodate the World Cup tournament with as many stadiums that we have around the country. We certainly have the people that can organize things, or a thing of that magnitude. But also I think it's a super opportunity for the people once again in America to see soccer and see something of the magnitude of the Super Bowl or the World Series spread out all over the entire world.
Thoughts on soccer here in the United States from the All-Star World Soccer game played over the weekend. Again, the big winner, however, the children of the world, as the game was played for UNICEF.
Do they travel around playing that All-Star game?
Yes, and this is the largest soccer crowd ever in the United States.
Why? Oh, well, obviously you have I thought you were going to say the world, but 78,000 people, they can't be wrong. We have television, 1 billion in audience, and a lot of money for UNICEF.
In the news, American interest in soccer is growing. Soccer is much more popular elsewhere in the world, but a recent game in New Jersey and a match in China suggest that its American popularity is growing. We'll be back with soccer in the news. And now, soccer in the news. Last month's World Cup Soccer Championship showed just how popular that sport is around the world, and drew new American attention to the game that outside the United States is called football. Even in the U.S., soccer has been growing steadily in popularity. One sign of that could be seen last weekend in New Jersey. The second largest U.S. soccer crowd ever, nearly 77,000 fans packed Giant Stadium to watch the World All-Star Soccer game. The teams, the European All-Stars and the rest of the World All-Stars, featured top soccer players from around the world, including Pele, the Brazilian superstar. The Europeans beat the rest of the world 3-2. Profits